controversial loss to Josh Padley last night. Right, this is Ring Wrap's Boxing Highs. We're doing a quick roundup of this week's main events. So last night, Saturday, we had two big events. We had one in Sheffield, England, and we had another one in Philadelphia, America. So straight on to the heavyweights. Dave Allen was having his swan song coming out party against heavyweight juggernaut Makhmudov, who's the Russian based out of Canada. Now, Makhmudov had taken recent defeats, one getting dismantled by 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗢𝗟𝗓𝗪 out in Riyadh, and also being beat by 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪, the Gladiator. So he had a recent win, but Dave Allen coming off the back of the two Johnny Fisher fights, both competitive and the last one conclusive, knocking out Johnny. Dave was on somewhat of a swan song, and it was an amazing homecoming. Sheffield Arena was packed, Kelbrook ringside. It was packed to the rafters, and Sheffield is a really good fighting town. If you've never been, it can claim to probably be the best atmospheric boxing town after London. So yeah, you got to get down there. Anyway, onto the fight. It was clear from early rounds that Makhmudov was going to dominate with the length, the boxing stance and style. The big questions were asked of Makhmudov getting dismantled by 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗪𝗓, but the key component to 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗪's success was being busy and going at him and having the big man move backwards in a straight line. He is taggable. Once he moves back, especially once his back touches the ropes, he is susceptible to attacks. Unfortunately for Dave, as he said himself in the post-fight presser, he just wasn't good enough. I think it's a bit of an oversimplification. I think Dave wasn't busy enough. Now, easier said than done when you've done as many rounds around the track as Dave has, and, semi-retiring numerous times, albeit now Dave's in the form of his life, in the twilight of his career. But apart from the left body shot and the right uppercut in spots, in certain rounds, in certain spells in the fight, Dave wasn't able to sustain enough pressure to make the big man fall. It was noticeable at times. Makhmudov being such a muscle-bound guy, he's very like Drago-esque. He would swing his arms out and because his arms are too heavy to hold up for too long. So again, Dave had him almost semi-gassed and on his feet a few times after close uppercuts, and the big man Makhmudov was able to hug it out. So he was able to survive those spots of danger by, leaning and hugging on the also very big Dave Allen, like weight-wise. So it was a bit anticlimactic in the end. It was a good fight, a good scrap, a decent heavyweight scrap. I think it's fair to say that Dave Allen has probably solidified his legacy as a British boxing icon, but also now cemented his status that he's probably a certifiable high-level gatekeeper. So he's above British level. He's probably European/fringe level. Every time Dave's tried to step up for one reason or another, he's just come up short. Whether it be against Dillian Whyte, whether it be against, Ortiz all those years ago, and more recently just now with Makhmudov. So Makhmudov was very, very graceful in victory. He was saying that Dave was the toughest man he's ever fought and was calling him a lion because he's called the Lion. So we'll have to see. They were really trying hard to fix the narrative that the winner was going to fight AJ. That seems a bit forced. I don't personally. Makhmudov's all wrong for AJ in a sense that if he's coming forward at AJ, he could knock AJ out. However, if he's going backwards, AJ can knock him out. They're both very similar in the sense they're big, heavy, muscle-bound guys that don't have the best movement. AJ's probably got a better jab than Makhmudov, but Makhmudov might punch as hard, if not harder, than AJ on a solid right. So Dave Allen, what's next? He's got one more fight with Matchroom, but because of his popularity and seeming, cast iron chin, he's a good out for anyone. Trilogy with Johnny Fisher would have been an easy sell, but I think having the two fights so close and the way the last one ended, I'm not sure if Johnny's ready for that yet. He's just joined new trainer Tony Sims. It's going to take a while to mesh and gel, so we'll have to see. Makhmudov's jockeying in position. He's kind of waved his card back at Riyadh Season and Ring Magazine, so they'll have plans for him. He rematch of 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪, probably not, because 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗟's waiting now. He's knocking on the door, waiting for his turn after Joseph Parker. Maybe the winner of I can't know. You know what? I'm not going to say that. If Wardley beats Joseph Parker, then maybe Makhmudov versus Wardley could make sense. But if Parker beats Wardley, which I suspect should happen, then Parker shouldn't have to fight Makhmudov, because Parker has done way above and beyond his due diligence of climbing up the rankings, waiting for his spot at Usyk. So yeah, that's that. On the undercard was a highly contested 130 fight between local boy Josh Padley versus 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗍𝗪𝗓𝗍. 𝗙𝗙𝗟 started well. He always does. Reese has got high volume, high work rate, doesn't stop. He's just on you. He's a textbook pressure fighter. Reese had a run of a few losses recently. I think it was 3 or 4 losses actually. So he wasn't coming in on the best form, but a lot of those fights were quite tight. And again, this proved to be no different. So I caught it from round 3 onwards. It was a 10-round fight. And from what I could see, Reese was bossing the pace of the fight up until maybe, I think it was round 6. I think round 6 and 7, Padley turned the tide, put together some cleaner work. He was getting caught with a lot of body shots, sneaky ones on the inside. And Reese is quite a long fighter. I think the way he was able to unconventionally lure Padley in, he was doing Barry Jones was making a really good point on the comms, saying that unorthodoxly, Reese would lean in with his right shoulder, so his far side, which should be there, that should be your if you're orthodox, your left shoulder should be front ways, not Philly shell, but your left shoulder's front because you're jabbing. But he would lean in with his right and whip up the body shot. So weirdly now, with the controversial loss to Josh Padley last night, I, like a lot of the commentators and ringside pundits, I had it 5-4 to 𝗙𝗟𝗟𝗍𝗪𝗓 going into the 10th. So that shows you how much of a fight of two halves it was, that 𝗙𝗟𝗟𝗍𝗪𝗓 started really well and Padley picked it up somewhere in the middle. I did see Padley hurt at least once in there, and this was a noticeable point that he'd come down, obviously, from fighting at higher weights versus Shakur Stevenson, to come down, and it was deemed an advantage for him, really, because he was feeling stronger at the weight. Some people say, cutting weight kills you, but he's at a good age still, and he said he felt strong. So maybe there's a few things going on here, because a lot of people thought 𝗙𝗟𝗟𝗍𝗪𝗓 won. When I say a lot of people that know how to score fights. So a lot of people thought the judges got it wrong. Did the judges mistake 𝗙𝗟𝗟𝗍𝗪𝗓's coming in with the shoulder as spoiling his own work? And did they not pick up on a lot of the cheeky inside left digs to the body? Maybe they didn't, because the more eye-catching shots could have been argued that Padley had the bulk of those. But definitely the work rate appeared to be coming from 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗍𝗪𝗓. So it's a strange one, man. In all fairness, a draw with now a pending rematch would have been the right outcome. Nobody likes draws in boxing. It kind of stagnates the situation unless you've got all-star names like Canelo Triple G or something. So I don't know. If all things being fair, then 𝗙𝗟𝗟𝗍𝗪𝗓 would get a rematch. But yeah, boxing's never really fair. So I don't know. Padley, I just had a quick peek. He's decently ranked with one of the bodies, WBA, I think. He's decently ranked. Interestingly, other matchroom fighter Raymond Ford is highly ranked in all the bodies. Is that someone that they could be trying to line him up to fight? Because surely Raymond Ford's going to be in an eliminator situation or interim or whatnot soon. Bearing in mind that Lamont Roach is technically vacating his title because he's moved up to fight Pitbull Cruz. So he's not defending his title, and he's moved away from 130. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what becomes available. But yeah, somewhat controversial last night. The home guy getting the win, and also that Bellotti was on a losing streak, so it's kind of like, yeah, he's lost a few fights, he can lose another one. The game's nasty like that. Let's now flip over stateside to Philadelphia. We had Jaron, Boots, Ennis fighting very unknown Portuguese fighter or Angolan fighter, 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗓𝗪. And aesthetics looked okay. You know, it looked like a decent match, but this is what the eyeball test can throw you when you're just a casual in boxing. If you're just looking at who's muscly and who's big and who's taller and whatnot, you're gonna find it hard to understand the nuances and the little itty gritty things that make boxing work. So it was a mismatch. As anyone who knew anything about boxing knew, this was a mismatch. A lot of people were saying this was a quote unquote wasted fight. Really, that Boots needs to just get in the mix now with the big boys, whether it be 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗓𝗪, 𝗙𝗪𝗓𝗓𝗔, etc. Boots blew him out the water. He had him down around a minute in the first round, and he had him down again another 20 seconds later, and then the referee jumped in. I dare say not even 2 minutes had gone by. So while it was an emphatic, dramatic stoppage, it didn't really tell us much that we didn't already know. It was more an opportunity for Boots to make a statement and then Eddie Hearn to cement that statement. What is it? He was like, you line them up, it'll piece them up. Everyone was thinking he's going to say, you line them up, you'll knock them down the cheese. But Eddie went a bit road with it and went, we'll piece them up. So there was shouts out to Oscar De La Hoya saying that the provisional contract had been signed on a fight for Ortiz versus Boots. But obviously Ortiz has got to fight Erickson Lubin, a very, very, very competitive fight coming up. So Boots called out everyone at 154, which ain't saying much. I mean, you've got 𝗙𝗙𝗟𝗓𝗪, who's great. You've got a couple other guys whose surnames I'm not going to butcher right now. And yeah, really, it's all eyes on Ortiz Lubin winner. So let's hope there's a conclusive winner in that fight so that they can meet Boots and we actually start getting the cream of the crop rising in 154. Because since Crawford jumped all the way out of the game to like the echelons of 168, and since 𝗙𝗪𝗟𝗟𝗪's been inactive and just running away from Canelo, I mean, he did call him out as well. But I mean, yeah, 𝗙𝗪𝗟𝗟𝗪 would sell tickets with his mouth and whatnot and his brand, but nah. 𝗙𝗪𝗟𝗟𝗪 don't look like he wants any serious fights anymore. To me, most of these guys, when they fight Canelo, they cash out. They cash out. You know, we've seen it too many times. Fair play to anyone that loses to Canelo and still comes back hungry after having that massive payday. So, Boots, let's see, to be continued. This is a guy whose trajectory could be like, you know, Bitcoin. Not today. But yeah, he should be the guy to watch. It's sad that he's just a few years too young to have met Terence Crawford. But that would have been a great passing of the torch fight. Similar in so many ways in the sense of athleticism and dynamism and explosivity and both switch hitters. But yeah, Boots Ennis, onwards and upwards. All eyes on the Vergil Ortiz, Erickson Lubin matchup, the Golden Boy mega card. And yeah, there are a few other fights this week, but it's just nice to actually have had some tangible, high-level, competitive fights in boxing this week. It's been a little bit spaced out with the mega cards taking the limelight. The medium to smaller cards have somewhat suffered. So yeah, let's keep it moving on to the next one. We've got some big fight weeks coming up. So this is Ring Rats Boxing Highs, and we will see you soon.